He had a warm home, good food, and people who loved him. But every single day he woke up feeling like he was losing a race he never signed up for. His classmate had newer shoes. His neighbor had a bigger house. His cousin seemed to laugh more easily than he did. And no matter how much he had, the moment he looked at someone else, what he had suddenly felt like not enough. His name was Noah. He was 12 years old, and he was one of the unhappiest children in a village full of people who had far less than him. This is his story. And if you have ever felt that particular kind of empty that comes not from what you lack but from what someone else seems to have, then this story belongs to you too. Noah was not a difficult child. He was kind and curious and genuinely wanted to be happy. But happiness always felt like something just out of reach. He would feel fine in the morning and then see a classmate with something new and feel the familiar sting spread through his chest. He would feel content at dinner and then hear his father mention a neighbor's success and feel the contentment quietly drain away. He could not explain it, and he could not stop it. He just knew that every time he looked outward at someone else's life, something inside him dimmed. One afternoon after school, Noah sat alone on a low stone wall at the edge of the village, staring at nothing in particular. He had just come from a friend's house where he had seen a beautiful new bicycle leaning against the door, and the feeling in his chest was that familiar heavy one again. He sat there kicking his feet against the wall and feeling sorry for himself in a way he knew was not entirely fair but could not seem to help. An old man came and sat down beside him. He was not from the village, or at least Noah had never seen him before. He had kind eyes and the unhurried manner of someone who had long ago stopped rushing toward anything. He did not ask Noah what was wrong. He just sat quietly for a moment and then reached into his bag and pulled out 2 cups and a small flask of water. He poured water into both cups and handed one to Noah. Noah took it without thinking. The old man sipped from his own cup slowly and looked out at the village with the same quiet expression. Then, without turning his head, he asked, "Is the water in your cup enough to satisfy your thirst?" Noah looked down at his cup. It was full. He said yes. The old man nodded. Then he said, "Now look at my cup." Noah looked. The old man's cup was also full. The old man asked, "Does looking at my cup make the water in yours taste any less?" Noah opened his mouth and then closed it again. He looked down at his own cup. The water had not changed. It was still full, still cool, still exactly what it had been a moment ago. Nothing about his cup had changed simply because he had looked at someone else's. The old man said quietly, "The water in your cup is your life. It does not change when you look away from it. But when you look at it through someone else's cup, you stop tasting what is actually in yours. And a cup of water you are not tasting is no different from an empty one." Noah sat with that for a long moment. Then he asked the old man why it was so hard to stop looking at other people's cups. The old man smiled slightly and said that the mind is naturally drawn to comparison because comparison once kept people alive. In the old days, knowing that your neighbor had more food meant you needed to find more food. The instinct was useful once, but now most people use it not to survive, but to measure their worth. And worth, he said simply, is not something that can be measured by looking sideways. He told Noah something else then. He said that jealousy and gratitude cannot live in the same moment. They are like 2 people trying to stand on the same small stone in the middle of a river. Only one can be there at a time. Every moment you spend looking at what someone else has is a moment you are not standing on your own stone. And your stone does not disappear while you are looking away, but you do lose your footing on it. And when you lose your footing long enough, you forget it was ever yours. Noah asked him how to stop. The old man told him it was not about stopping, it was about redirecting. Every time you feel the pull to look at someone else's life and measure yours against it, turn your eyes back to your own cup, not with guilt, not with force. Just with a quiet and deliberate choice to taste what is actually there. He said that gratitude is not a feeling that arrives on its own. It is a practice. A decision made again and again until it becomes the natural direction of your attention. Before the old man stood to leave, he said one last thing. He said that the boy next door with the new bicycle is also looking at someone else's life and feeling that same sting, that the person whose house is bigger is staring at an even bigger house down the road, that the chain of comparison has no end and no winner. The only way off it is to step off it entirely, to look at your own cup, to taste your own water, to decide that what you have, imperfect and ordinary and entirely yours, is the very thing that was always worth protecting. Then the old man picked up his bag, nodded once, and walked away down the road until Noah could no longer see him. Noah sat on that wall for a long time after the old man left. The village looked the same. The houses were the same size they had always been. His friend's bicycle was still leaning against that door. Nothing in the world had changed, but something in Noah had. He looked down at the cup still in his hands. The water was ordinary. Room temperature now, nothing special about it at all. He drank it slowly anyway. And for the first time in longer than he could remember, it tasted like enough. He did not become a perfectly content person overnight. The pull to compare came back many times in the years that followed. It still does. But now when it comes, he remembers an old man on a stone wall, a cup of water, and the quiet truth that what you have does not change when someone else has more. Only your attention to it does. Protect your cup. Taste your own water. That is where your happiness has been living all along. If this story moves something in you today, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for more stories like this every week. And drop a comment below and tell me one thing in your life right now that you are choosing to be grateful for. Just one thing. Let us fill up this comment section with cups of water. Drop a comment below and tell me one thing you are genuinely grateful for right now. Just one. It does not have to be big. A warm cup of tea. A person who showed up. A moment of quiet. Share it below and let us remind each other what is already in our cups. And if this story helped you, please share it with one person who has been looking at everyone else's life and forgetting to taste their own.